Because as you can see, I can talk for a long time.
I know we're 15 minutes over already. There's one thing more. Can I ask?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is before I really knew how to do it. This is when I was first learning. And so a lot of what I talked about now, we didn't know any of that stuff, which the cool thing is you don't have to like have my model or understand the New Testament well enough or the blood of the lamb for it to work. If Jesus is in the room, it works. Period. Yeah. So this was early on. I was learning from a Baptist guy, Southern Baptist guy
Nice.
And there's a tradition within the Southern Baptist tradition of deliverance.
That's funny.
Merrill Unger, who had Unger's Bible Dictionary, and it stems from the Welsh revival. But there's a lot of non-charismatics who practice deliverance, and I didn't know this until I was someone who wanted help but didn't want to get prayed for by this guy. This was an early version of me. His name was Dale Schmidt, short, stocky Southern Baptist guy. He witnessed everybody that he ever saw. He prayed for 3 hours a day. He fasted all the time. He paid a price that I don't think you have to pay to do deliverance, because at least I hope not. I don't pay that price. But he had that was in his worldview. You had, and I think maybe you had to be at that point to do it the way he did it. But he would just start talking to the demon in the person, and the demon would manifest and talk back. I don't ever give demons a microphone. It's not necessary. They want to leave anyway, so they don't need to talk. They don't need to manifest.
Yeah, I think Jesus did it. Jesus did it once, right?
Well, some people think he wasn't asking the demons their name. He thinks he was asking the guy his name, and the demons just answered through him when he said legion. But that was his model. I saw demons coming out of people, which was very helpful as the demons answered through the people. It was helpful for me to understand that the idea that people are demonized and that you can make them, that they have to do what you say. But this guy who we're talking about, he was someone who I'd led to the Lord in the county jail, and he was attempted murder was his charge. He went off to prison for a couple of years and was released amazingly after just 2 or 3 years. Came back to Pueblo where we lived. Was part of our church. He wasn't wrestling with murder anymore, unless you call suicide a form of murder, self-murder. He was extremely compulsive and feeling like he had to kill himself, and he almost hung himself the night before. He came to our prayer meeting, and he just confessed what happened. So he exposed this demon through.
Wow, what a huge faith step right there.
It was because he was desperate.
Resorts, right? Yeah.
I'm afraid to go home because I'm afraid I'll kill myself. So I keep talking about discernment is the key. The demon of the suicidal demon was discerned at that moment, not because we saw it, but because it was exposed through confession. So we had enough to know. Discernment is simply knowing what you're praying for, what demon is there. So we didn't know what to do. We just laid hands on him. We were just learning about deliverance. And when we laid hands on him, this thing threw him to the floor and was choking him. And you know who this is. This guy weighs probably 250 pounds. So boom, he crashes to the floor. He's choking and gagging. And so we're like yelling at the demon, telling it to leave. We yelled for probably a little bit, 30 seconds to a minute. Finally, he stops choking and flailing on the floor, and I see 2 white things fly out of the room. That might be the first time I actually saw them.
Why do you think they were white?
Oh, who knows? Who knows? You think that, angel of light disguises itself as light. I tend to think of that.
I mean, you can think of white hot hatred too, right? Like it's like a temperature type thing. But sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. It's a good question. But I just saw him out of the corner of my eye right when he stopped manifesting, which I'm like, what was that? And they went out a window. Like you'd think, why don't they just go through a wall or something? Another weird question. But and he's never been suicidal since then.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't talked to him for about 10 years. So, but I did a Facebook search for him. I haven't been able to get a hold of him. I'm wanting to talk to him, but he's married. He lives in Kentucky. He runs a janitorial service. But when I did talk to him, which was 10 or 15 years ago, I asked him, have you wrestled with suicidal tendencies since then? He goes, I have not. So he got So that particular sin that he wrestled with, in that particular set of demons, I saw two white things, so I'm assuming it was a set, have been expelled from him, and he's done with them. So does that mean he's done with sin, darkness, demons? No. In my opinion, it's on to the next thing. We go from one level of freedom to another level of freedom, or as it says in Romans, from glory to glory. From one weightiness to a greater weightiness as the things that suck the life or weight out of us are removed. But yeah, so if he came to me now, we would be able to handle it in a private setting. And he probably would not manifest. And some people think, well, how do you know if you got rid of it if it didn't manifest? Well, again, it's the fruit, you know. So if he got prayer, if he same situation, but say he just was brought to me, the fruit would be, is he still dealing with suicide? And we would see stuff come on out of him in that setting as well. But I would take him through forgiving. So I would get the blood of the Lamb flowing. I would get some of these principles that are very clearly expressed in Revelation 12 as how we defeat the enemy. But those principles are expressed throughout the New Testament: receiving and giving forgiveness, affiliating with Jesus. That solves, in my opinion, affiliating with Jesus solves every problem in the world. If you want to solve those problems faster, then you obey Jesus. And if you're going to obey Jesus, first order of obedience is receiving and giving forgiveness. If you refuse to do those things, then you're stuck. Your growth is stuck. You're stunted, and it just so happens that deliverance will follow if you do that, even if you don't believe in deliverance.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dad.
Fresh on me, come wake me from my sleep, and blow through the caverns of my soul.